Hello everyone, this is Tina with Tia's Treasures. Today I have for you a quick unboxing of the Heroes June 2023 card kit of the month and some cards. So let's get started here. And of course our kit always comes in this mesh bag, which is great for storing your kit. It's about the size of a half sheet of cardstock. So any cardstock we get from Heroes is always cut in half. This is an extra, so I should hide that. So I'll talk about it later. That doesn't come with the kit. So our regular kit comes with these 4 reactive ink cubes, Splash, Taffy, Creamsicle, and Lemon Drop. They react in water. I believe they're pigment based. Always nice. This is the premium kit. We get these frame cuts and this nice little silhouette of some palm trees and some greenery. And we also get, 6 sheets of, half sheets of watercolor paper, 5 by 5 and a half by 8.5. Wonderful. I've got a project that I need watercolor paper for, and I wanted to compare the Tim Holtz, the Hero Arts, and the Canton XL, just to see actually which one bends best and creases best. So I'm glad I have some of this that I can try it out on. And we also, of course, that was more information than you needed to know. And we get this lovely layering stamp set where we can layer the water. We have clouds and dogs and sun and a half sun or a moon. A sailing boat, a few sentiments. Do we have, I believe the sentiments this month, yeah, you can cut them out with dies. I don't know if you can cut them all out, but I think you can cut a few of them out at least. May every sunset bring you peace. I see the die for that. I think, I don't know. I'll have to check it out and see. I think that's the second one. But I only see the 2, so there might be more. You know when you get going with them. And here's a die to cut out the clouds. And I think this is one to cut out the water. So anyhow, that's it with the classic set. The premium set, check this out. The doggies, my doggies in here whining. I am sorry. Do you want out? Okay, come on. Interrupt my video to let you out. At least he wasn't barking for a change, which is what he usually does during my videos. I finally figured out how to open this bag. I was trying to open it from the other end. So we have a layering stencil. We have some enamel stickers. These are beautiful. We also have some little confetti. Look at that. That is just so pretty. And some iridescent embossing powder. It's like quarter of a bottle, a third of a bottle. How much embossing powder do you go through? Not that much. So that was the premium kit and the classic kit. So let's go make some cards. I forgot to tell you the add-on I bought. So real quick, I did buy a color layering add-on of the water. I know some of this, I think, came out with the previous kit. This actually might have, the whole thing might have been with the previous kit. But I thought it would go well with this kit because instead of having kind of the curved, the silhouette with the sun and stuff, this one is just a plain straight across. It's real similar, but I thought they were different enough that it would go well with this card. So anyhow, let's make those cards now. Okay, to start off here, I have a full sheet of cardstock, and I'm just trying to decide which of these 4 colors I want to use. And I figure I will use the yellow, the orange, and the pink on these shells. And so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up the entire stencil, and it does end up smoothing out this ink as it dries, so I'm not overly concerned about it looking a little blotchy. And even if it does, I kind of like the look of it being darker on the edges anyway, so I'm not concerned at all. And I am going to end up cutting down this panel when I'm done. So for the first layer, I take the yellow ink, and on the second layer, I take the orange creamsicle ink. I just love creamsicles. They're just so good. You get them with like the ice cream, the orange sherbet on the outside, and the vanilla ice cream on the inside. And, you know, none of that like popsicle stuff on the outside. It's got to be the orange sherbet. Anyway, I digress. It's neither here nor there. I don't know why. I've just got like ice cream on the mind. So for the second layer, that was the creamsicle. And for this third layer here, we are taking the pink ink. The pink ink. I like saying that. I don't have it. So what is the pink ink is the taffy. That's what I thought. Another thing I love, saltwater taffy. That is the best candy in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a place for chocolate, but saltwater taffy, just, so good. So anyway, here is my stencil all complete. And as it dries, I really love it. So I went ahead and I cut it down, and I cut down a piece of yellow cardstock that I had in my stash. I think it's Simon Says yellow cardstock. Not 100% sure. And right about here, my tape runner died, and so I switched to glue. And I'm going to glue that down, leaving a white border all the way around it. Eventually I'll glue it down once, you know, I pick the tape off the side. And then I'm going to have a little bit of the yellow border around the shell stenciled background. And I've popped it up on some foam tape already. I've done a lot of the work on a lot of these cards already because I think this video would be 2 hours if I were to show me inking every card I made. So yeah, I went ahead and I popped this up to give a little bit of dimension. And I have got a sentiment that I stamped out that we're going to put in the center of this card. Now, I stamped out the happy birthday sentiment that came with this kit, but I also stamped out celebrate. Now, I just thought because this card is full of shells, it needed something more than just happy birthday. So there's where the happy birthday is on our stamp set. And I found an old Spellbinder stamp set that said celebrate on it. So I thought celebrate happy birthday worked out well. You could just use celebrate if that's what you have somewhere, or just happy birthday. And I do end up putting it in the center. And I am going to bring in some confetti, some kind of clear iridescent confetti that I have in my stash from Pink and Maine. The blue confetti that came with this kit I felt didn't work. Now, it might have worked if I would have colored the stencil with the blue ink instead of like the pink or the orange or yellow. But I did not, and so that's why I'm using the clear confetti. I'm doing just a nice little sprinkling. So I hope everybody had a nice Father's Day this weekend. I had my kids over and we just kind of did a cookout and we're in the pool and we had a good time. Fun was had by all. It was a beautiful day out here. Got 86, 87, I think. Not 100% sure. I wasn't paying real close to the temperature yesterday. I was busy just hanging out. And I just love the summertime with cookouts and, you know, being near the water, any water, the beach, the pool. I don't care. If it's hot outside, put me near water or let me stay indoors. I just do not like being outside when I have no way of cooling down. So eventually I do get these little confettis placed where I want them. Now this video is at most of its filmed at regular time. I didn't speed it up for a change because I had cut out so much of the detail, like of me cutting down the card and different things like that, so I felt speeding it up would just be a little bit much. Of course, watching myself glue down these sequins is kind of just torturous in real time. It's like, come on, get on with it. Of course, when you're actually gluing them down, it seems to go pretty quick. And I just glued 6 of them down in a little bit of a 2 little triangles in groups of 3, I guess would be a good way to describe it. And I just think this is the cutest card. I love that little stencil. And this is card number 1. I'm just admiring my handiwork there. Now for card number 2, I have got most of this stamped out as well. Now I'm using some Nina Desert cardstock, Desert Storm cardstock, as our background for our card front. And I've got the little birds and little lady there. And I used the layering stencil on the bottom. And for our cloud layer, I flipped the cloud layer upside down so it could go right there on the horizon. And I went ahead and I heat embossed May Every Sunset Bring You Peace. And I did have the coordinating die to cut that out, which was really nice. And here for these colors, I used Dusty Concord, Picked Raspberry, Spiced Marmalade, and Gathered Twigs. And the only part I really had to ink blend was at the very top above the clouds. And I went ahead and I stamped down my clouds with I believe it was I used the Picked Raspberry for the clouds. And so I kind of did that on top of them as well. And then I did a little ink blending of the Gathered Twigs for the sand. Now my water here, though, I used the Dusty Concord and the Picked Raspberry too, because you want the pink tones from the clouds and the purple kind of reflecting back on your water. And I thought the Spiced Marmalade made a nice sunset color for our sun. It does have a little bit of a white edge around it, and that's because I had my sun masked off, but I decided that I didn't mind that. It kind of just gave a little bit of a little different look. I tried doing a little bit of ink blending over it, but that white band is still kind of visible, so why fret it? Now this I glued down flat, and I thought about popping it up to give it a little bit more dimension, but I just love the way this looks as a 1-layer card. I just think the birds over the sun and the little the woman or the girl, whatever, just looking out towards the sunset in silhouette, I just think that's a really nice look. And then I am going to go ahead and I'm going to glue that sentiment down in the lower left hand corner, because I did not want to cover up any of my ocean or sky. And I just glue that down flat as well. Now there's only the 2 sentiments that that we have dies for with this kit, and that's okay, because the other sentiment with the kits that are not a big deal to kind of cut out flat, in a little strip. So May Every Sunset Bring You Peace. And I just like the way this card looks so much, I decided I didn't want to put any sequins on or anything to kind of ruin the background scene. And now for our third card. This is another one I have done. I made this a moonlight scene, and the colors I used for this were black soot. I used, for a moon, I used Squeezed Lemonade. I wanted a really bright, vibrant moon, and I just really love how bright it is. But I also used some black soot right at the top, then some chipped sapphire, and then I used some, I want to say, the peacock feathers, an uncharted mariner for the water. And for the sand, it was some ground espresso because I wanted some dark sand. I didn't want it to be too light. But it's a little lighter where the sea foam kind of meets the sand. And I used the sentiment, Hello Friend, and I put it down. I already have it there. And of course, I've got the little dock with the little seagulls. If I would have had a sentiment that said mine, just mine, I would have put that down, you know, like in Finding Nemo. Mine, mine. Love that. And I'm going to glue down a black border around our card front. Now, the reason I have it stamped already, Hello Friend, is because I kept trying to heat emboss a little piece of black cardstock with the sentiment Hello Friend in white. And I heat embossed it like 3 times, and it kept either coming out smeared or it just was not working out. I don't know if anybody else has trouble with white embossing powder, but it just seems not to work well with me. So I'm surprised I was able to do 2 of the sentiments with white embossing powder, the 2 that I cut out with the dies. You'll see the next one on the next card. But this Hello Friend would not work, so I just ended up stamping it right on the card. And at the top of the card, where you can see the little stars, that's just some white gouache that I splattered right at the top. And in order to make sure that it didn't turn a blue color, the stars, because if you know the Tim Holtz inks, they will pick up the color if you use like anything liquid on top of them, and I didn't want my stars turning blue, so I used a little micro glaze on my card, and that sealed the card enough to keep my stars from turning. Now, I did think again about using the sequins on this card, but just like the last card, you know, I decided that I like the way this looked, and I really didn't think the sequins would add too much, and the blues just didn't go with the colors I had on here. So that was it for card 3. Now for card number 4, I took the oval die and I went ahead and I colored that. Now this background here, I'm using some blue cardstock, and if you can see, that sun's really dirty. Because I'm using blue cardstock, the yellow sun turned a little greenish, and so then I tried some spiced marmalade over that, and I ended up turning a little bit brown, which is what I'm trying to explain here. And yeah, so I just cut out another sun, and we're going to glue that down. Now my clouds don't reach the very top of the sky because of the way the oval is. Now on this one, I wanted a daylight scene, and I used broken china, and I used what else? Some uncharted mariner. I did use some of the yellow squeezed lemonade for our little sun on the ocean, and I used the brushed corduroy for our sand. And to color this, I used my tri-blend markers. I don't know what color. I was just kind of in the zone grabbing markers. But our sun there is a little bit of the you know what? Am I a liar? Did I use different colors with this? No. I just showed you them there, so I think I used both these. No, it was mustard seed, not squeezed lemonade. I used mustard seed on the sun. Good. And I just showed it to you, but that's what I got. And now this I have sped up a little bit because we'd be here all day watching me put dots of glue on the back of that. Oh, excuse me. I guess I could edit that out, but anyhow, I was saying this card was a lot of fun to color. I had to try to mask around most of the oval though, because I didn't want to get ink all over it. And I didn't have another oval die that size, or I would have actually cut out a mask. So I just put a bunch of Post-it notes around my oval and hoped for the best. and I end up putting that over my ocean scene. Now you don't even really see the sand, so I could have done without stamping that out, but that's okay. And for the clouds, I'm not sure if I mentioned I used a white pigment ink for them, and it took a lot of stamping to get it to show, but I wanted white clouds, and so that's what we did. And I just love the color on this die. You could have done it a silhouette. I think a black silhouette or a white silhouette would have looked really good as well, but I just thought I would color it up. I didn't see a whole lot of cards with it colored up. And I am just going to glue this down right over my card base. And I glue this down flat. So the last 3 cards, well, including this, are flat cards. So they go through the mail really easily. And as you can see here, if you enjoyed this video at all, please give me a like. I'm trying to bribe you by glue bottle. I don't know if it'll work, but you know, it's worth a try. We're just going to glue this down, and for this card though, I do bring in some of the Hero Arts confetti and little jewels. I was not aware when I first opened it up that that little packet has little jewels as well as confetti. And I use the sentiment, sending you an ocean of thanks. And as you can see, this one's in the black cardstock with the white embossing, which is what I was talking about when, you know, for a change, I was able to use white embossing powder on 2 sentiments, and it was just that third one that I tried to do that just wasn't working out. So it just was one of those weird things. So yeah, this is just beautiful. I'm going to have to do a shaker card with this mix because it's got such beautiful blues and iridescent clear confetti and just some like diamond-like crystals in there. It is just some beautiful, beautiful, it's a beautiful mix. And I'm going to try to scatter these all over this card. I don't know if you ever have this problem, but as I was putting down the sequins, they were sticking together. So I'd put a little piece of glue down, a little dot of glue, and I'd go to put the sequin back on it, and it would drop off. And it was just, these were not cooperating really, really well. Now that first little confetti looks like a blue one, but it's actually iridescent. See, they're just fighting me there, and I'm trying to get them so they've all got a flat back, so I didn't have to worry about any little points. But I had a little hard time with some of this stuff, but it was worth it in the end. They look really pretty on this card. And now I had originally meant for this video to drop yesterday, and the day before, Saturday night, I had like stayed up editing, and I got all the way to the end of editing the video, and all I had left to do was my voiceover. And as soon as I finished editing, I had an error and I lost all of my work. So I just got fed up and left it, and then I edited it all yesterday morning, and I ran out of time to do a voiceover, which is why you're getting this video a couple days late. But hopefully I will have another video coming out shortly. I believe I just received the Pink and Main card kit for June. I haven't even opened it yet. So hopefully, if all goes well tomorrow or the next day, I'll be doing that. And then I have a little side project I want to make for my youngest daughter, which is going to take me a while, but I have some Tim Holtz products that I want to kind of copy one of his last lives. There was some inspiration. Well, actually, it was from chapter 3, all the way back then, but I just recently rewatched it to get some ideas. And So there was some inspiration that I'm going to try doing something very similar to that was in his last chapter 3 video. If you don't follow Tim Holtz, he's does so much stamps and dies, and he's got a line of like charms and stuff like that that you can make vignette boxes and all sorts of stuff. Vignette boxes, yeah, maybe that's the way to say it. Anyhow, or junk journals and just all sorts of fun stuff that I'm no good at, but I'm trying to learn, which is why I need a lot of inspiration. I need to really watch what his makers are doing and try to do what they did and put my own twist on it. I want to try making junk journals, but again, it's going to take a while for me to get any good at it. I mean, card making is stretching it at this point. So anyhow, here is my 4th card. Eventually, I hope. It looks like I'm cleaning up after myself for a change. But for the 5th card, it's really kind of a bonus card because these first 4 cards, pretty much you could do with everything that came in the kit with the exception of the word celebrate. But for this last one, I took some old kits and I took the add-on that I bought. Now you could have used the kit's water, but I decided I bought this add-on, so I was going to use this to do the ocean in my last card. And I took the die right here. I think it was from last summer. We got a flamingo set of layering flamingos. And then in December, I want to say 2021, we got a stamp set with the sun. I'm showing you the inks. The pink inks that came with the flamingo kit is what I used on the flamingo. That and some black ink for their beaks. Now this kit right here that I did the sun and the sun rays was a December, I want to say 2021 kit. And that was before they were giving us mesh envelopes, so I just have the stamp set. And I went ahead and I used that kit for the sky because it had the sky and the sun. And I used the sentiment Embrace the Sun that came in our kit. Now I originally tried some sparkly blue embossing powder, but then I went and just used the blue ink, some Simon Says blue ink. And for the sky, I used some Marine Cadet and Royal. And for the water, I used Ocean, Seafoam, and Surf, which, you know, you got to admit are the perfect colors for water. And for the sky there and the sunbeams, I used some citrine and some lemonade, which was all Simon Says Positively Saturated inks. I figured I would try to do something other than the Tim Holtz, but because I forgot to take out a brown for the sand, I ended up just using a Tim Holtz brush corduroy, I believe, because it was already on my desk. Was that the brush corduroy or was that the gathered twigs? Not sure. But this one I did pop up the back. I figured I would add some dimension because we're going to have these little flamingos hanging off the side a little bit. So why not? Like I said, this is a bonus card. If you've been a Hero Arts subscriber for a while, you may have these kits as well. You don't necessarily need them though. You could do this just with this month's kits using their clouds and their sun. But you definitely do need some sort of flamingos. Otherwise, you just have a beach scene. But that would work too, just a beach scene. Instead of the flamingos, you could like throw on the little silhouettes of the girl and the boy and the dog. Of course, then it might be a different card. But why not? I just love these flamingos. And any chance to use them again, I had to pull them out. And it's just, what do you call a bunch of flamingos? I mean, it's a murder of crows, a flock of seagulls. Would it be a flock of flamingos? It should be a flock of flamingos, if you ask me. You know, a murder of flamingos would just be wrong. So anyhow, yeah, I get them glued down right at the very bottom. They're just looking so regal. But now I'm very curious. Flock of flamingos. I like that. If it's not right, it should be. And I'm going to glue the sentiment, embrace the sun, right there on top of the clouds, or at the bottom of the clouds, I guess, right where the sun meets the clouds. And the way that die works is you don't even need a beach underneath it. It could have just been all clouds and sky, and it would have looked lovely, but then I would have had nowhere to put my flamingos, so we made it work. And now I am just putting down those clear, iridescent pink and mane sequins. I figured we would use those again. And truthfully, I think any of the sequins that came with the kit would have worked too, but I already had these out, so it was a little bit of laziness. I just figured, okay, I didn't put those away yet. I'm going to use them. And these look good on everything. And so I have just my little six sequins. Try saying that quick. 6 sequins. And I glue those down. And that is it for this card as well. And I just had a really fun time making all of these cards. And if you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of my subscribers. Thank you. And thank you for the new subscribers and for the ones that have been with me a bit. I know sometimes my sense of humor is not for everybody. And now I'm going to show you all my cards after I admire my handiwork there. And I would love to know what you think of them. So this was one of those card kits that I struggled a little bit with, but in the end I had a really fun time coming up with cards. Some of them were a little similar. I mean, they're beach scenes, right? But in the end, I think they all look a little bit distinct, and I had fun, so that's what's important. If you don't have fun with your stamps and your kits, well, then we probably shouldn't be doing this. So anyway, please tell me which one you liked, and bye-bye for now, everyone.